Hey Blue Devils, welcome back to World Changer 101. My name is Renaya Bennett and today I'll be interviewing Miss Kellye Harrison-Ayala. Kellye Harrison-Ayala is a Clifton Strength coach and has recently visited Shortridge CP students. So let's give a warm welcome to Miss Kellye Ayala. Now let's get started on our questions. Can you tell us a little bit about your job with Ivy Tech?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely glad to be here today to share it with you guys. So at Ivy Tech, I am what's called a New Skill Ready Network grant coach. And so basically what I do on behalf of the New Skill Ready Network at Ivy Tech, me along with my coworker, we go into local high schools, specifically the 4 district managed IPS high schools, and we talk to students all about college and career readiness to make sure that we help in the process of getting you ready for your next level of success. So that's in a nutshell what I do.
Okay. You were here at Shortridge earlier this year. Can you give us some explanation for what the Clifton Strength Assessment is and why it is so important for high school students?
Absolutely. I'm passionate about Clifton Strengths. So it's a performance-based tool that builds self-awareness and strength. It's not like a traditional personality test. The Clifton Strengths Assessment really highlights what naturally shows up for you as a person in your life. And this is important because knowing who you are helps you get to your next level of success. Clifton Strengths helps you with getting the words or developing a language to help present yourself. So in job interviews, internship interviews, interviews for work-based learning opportunities, scholarships, etc., you're able to not just say, oh, well, I'm good at this, but communication is a strength of mine because I am a relator, which means that I work to get to know people on an individual level and find those connections. This is so important for young people because the sooner you can articulate who you are to others, the more opportunities that you're able to take advantage of.
It's amazing. Why did you choose education as a place to pursue your career?
Well, so this isn't my first career. I tell everyone, fun fact with work-based workforce development, working in that area, I have learned that most adults, by the time you're my age, you will have had a few different careers. I actually started off in criminal justice. That's what my degree field is. And I saw a lot of young people who looked very similar to me across the desk from me. And I was like, there has got to be a way to keep people from getting, young people specifically, from getting to this place. Because I was seeing 16 and 17 and 18-year-olds in the adult court system, and they were losing opportunities to get where they wanted to go in life because of that. And so I was naturally just drawn to education. I come from a family full of educators. And so it was just a natural evolution process for me to go to education because I believe that education really is the great equalizer. It levels the playing field. And so I've been able in education to keep some kids from getting to the criminal justice system. And so that's really what drives me every day to do what I do.
Wow. Did you always know that this is what you wanted to do as a career?
So I always knew that I wanted to help people. When I was in the first grade, I wanted to be a Supreme Court judge. And that changed over time. I realized that what I really wanted to do with the criminal justice system, the reason that I went into criminal justice, was because I wanted to help people. And I just found that education is the better place for me to do that.
Okay. What is the motivation for the type of work that you do?
Seeing young people succeed. I am completely 10 toes down behind every young person that I come into contact with. I do this for work, but I also do this in my personal life within the community. My goal is to make sure that every young person is able to reach their dreams. And so even on the days that I'm tired, that I'm frustrated, just knowing that I have the ability to help someone get to their next level of success is what keeps me going.
What does it mean to be a life coach?
So as a life coach, I help people get from where they are right now to where they want to go. So I often tell people a life coach is like being the passenger in a car, right? You're driving the car, but I'm kind of like a GPS. I'm helping you navigate where you're going and trying to help you not turn down a dead end road or into an alley that doesn't have a way to get to another street, right? So it's really a partner in your life to help you move forward.
Okay. What did you do to become certified as a life coach?
So as a life coach, so I'm both a Gallup certified strengths coach, which is a national certification, and then I'm also a life coach in my outside of work life. And so for that Gallup certification, I had to attend a rather intense training course and do some practice hours and then pass a certification exam. And the process is very, very similar to that with a traditional life coaching certification as well. Yeah, so lots of learning and testing and coaching.
How has this job changed you in any way?
Wow. I think this particular job has changed me in that I am much more hopeful, having been in this role than I was before about what the future looks like. I'm significantly older than most of the students that I work with. And what I have learned is to listen more actively to what students are saying, because you guys are really more of the experts of what's going on in your lives than people believe. And so I've learned this job has changed me in that I listen more. I don't come into situations anymore thinking that I know the answer or know what's best for a student, because each student is different and each student has different needs, different desires, and a different path to get there.
What age group of students is your favorite to work with?
In general, high school, I have worked with middle school students and I've worked with elementary school students. Elementary school students are just a little younger. And that's not really my wheelhouse. Middle school students they're just a little too much for me. I like high school students because you guys can rationalize things more. You can have more in-depth conversations. And you guys just bring an energy that is very, very uplifting. Like I can go to a high school, even if I'm having a rough morning, within a few minutes, like you guys just have energy that's contagious. So I definitely do love working with high school students. I don't have a favorite within high school though. Like I don't have a favorite grade. Just in general, I prefer high school.
Okay, appreciate that.
You're welcome.
In your LinkedIn profile, you speak of authentic connection with students, families, and community partners. Can you give us an example of that type of connection?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm impressed that you guys went on my LinkedIn, that you guys did the research. So I tell people all the time, I get to know people, and it's just one of the things about me. One of my top 5 Clifton strengths is individualization, which simply means that I work to make those connections with people so that I know how we relate. So an example of that is I used to work at an adult high school. And by getting to know my students, I always told them they become a piece of the fabric of my life, right? A thread in the tapestry of my life, and I become a thread in the tapestry of theirs, which has looked like I've mentored students' children. I've been to graduations of some of my students' children, of my students. An authentic connection means making sure that the person you're interacting with knows that you're there, you're concerned about them as a person. They're not a statistic. They're not a piece of data. They are a person, and how they are feeling, their dreams, their hopes, their goals matter to me. And I'm able to convey that to people, and it just builds connections. I have students from when I first started in education 16 years ago that I'm still connected with, and who I'm sorry, my screen did something, that I'm still connected with, and that I am still a part of their life and they're part of mine.
That's great. That's amazing.
Thank you.
We know that you pursue some, if not all, of your university studies at IUPUI. Can you speak about a positive experience you've had there, since some of our students are headed there in the fall?
Absolutely. So my bachelor's degree is from IUPUI. I am a proud alumni. So I think there's so many positive experiences that I had, but I think one of the most positive experiences that I had at IUPUI was really that connection with faculty. There were very few times that I was not able to talk to a faculty member about any issues I was having in a class, any issues I was having with information. And one of the most amazing things with my program is that most of my professors worked still in the industry in which they were teaching. So I had a corrections officer, supervisor as an instructor, I had a judge as an instructor. And so just knowing that I was getting a top-notch education, but was still able to work because I worked my way through college. So I was still able to work, but also be part of a community. So I have a ton of really, really positive experiences at IUPUI.
I love that for you.
Thank you.
Can you discuss some of the benefits for students who want to pursue higher education at Ivy Tech?
Absolutely. I tell students all the time, Ivy Tech is a great first option, not a last resort. So of course, there's the cost savings. Per credit hour, we're about half the cost of most four-year universities, but we also have smaller class sizes. And so my first 2 years of college, I completed at a small private college in Ohio before I moved back home to finish at IUPUI. But with those core classes at IUPUI, as much as I love it, there were like 300 people in a class. Whereas, and it's hard to, it's easy to get lost, right? Kind of hard to make sure sometimes that you're doing the right thing and going to class and being on time and all of those things. At Ivy Tech, it's a smaller group, right? Your classes are not going to typically be more than 25 to 30 students. And so you're able to really form a community. It's a great way to get acclimated to the rigor of college in a smaller setting than a big 4-year.
Okay. What advice would you give to students who are having trouble deciding on the next step after high school?
Well, I would definitely recommend that you reach out to me for a Clifton Strengths, but I'm a huge proponent of career interest surveys. ONET is one of those. It's free. If you're not sure what you want to do, first understand that it's okay. There are a ton of other students your age who have no idea just yet what they want to do, and that's fine. I knew exactly what I wanted to do going into college, and I am doing absolutely not that now. And so it's okay. It's okay to not be sure, and it's okay to change your mind. I would definitely recommend doing some career assessments. If you have a career counselor available, talking to your career counselor. If you have people like me who come into your building, talking to them about various careers, using the internet to really research things that you're interested in, and then thinking about the things that you're naturally just really good at and what kind of careers can come from that, right? So if you're really, really great with art, right, you love all things creative, you can look at what just a simple Google search will do it. What sorts of careers can I use my artistic ability and still make a great living wage? So I would recommend to do that and give yourself some grace.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about what it is to be a grant writer and why it is so important?
To be a grant writer, so writing grants. So you'll hear all the time, like, there is so much money out there, and there is, but you have to know how to access it. So in writing grants, it's really becoming knowledgeable about the grant itself, the subject matter that they want to address, and then making sure that you have become well-versed on making sure every section is completed. For this grant, fortunately, I did not have to write it. In my lifetime, I've had to write several. Making sure that you're very clear about why your organization or why you as a person are the person or organization that should receive this, why, presenting any data, et cetera, to make sure that you're answering all of their questions, to make sure that you're presenting yourself or your organization in a way that you feel like the only option for them.
Okay, so that kind of falls along the lines of scholarships. So what do you think is kept secret about applying for scholarships?
Oh, I think the best kept secret is there's this book that I love, and I want to say it's called 1001 Scholarships. The secret is that there is a scholarship for everybody, right? You just have to dig for it. I tell students, apply to every scholarship that you think you qualify for. The worst that's going to happen is you don't get it. The best that's going to happen is that you do. It's not going to hurt you to submit for the scholarship. Also, best kept secret is you really need to craft like 3 good essays, right? One kind of general that you can tweak, one that speaks to something you're passionate about. And then because I'm back in school myself, so when I'm submitting for scholarships, I definitely, because I am a returning student, African-American woman over a certain age, I have an essay that speaks to those things as well. So that I'm always ready. Whenever I see a scholarship, I'm ready to send something off.
Okay. What should students do if they're not great writers and are shy away from scholarships that have to have an essay?
So there are amazing tools online. I just am learning all about ChatGPT, but I would say that it's always best to convey your thoughts yourself. I am not opposed to kind of fleshing your thoughts out a bit more with some electronic assistance, but a lot of schools have writing centers. Become friends with your English teacher, right? Your teachers are just as invested in your success as you are. And so it's as easy as telling a trusted adult in your building, I really want to apply for this scholarship. I'm not the best writer. Can you give me some tips? Can you help me out? Can you edit it? Can you review it? Can you read it? Okay.
So what would you recommend students to do before they apply for scholarships?
So before applying for scholarships, definitely really read through the scholarship that you're applying for, because you want to make sure, again, just like with grants, that you're answering the questions that they're asking, or if they're asking for an essay on a specific topic, you're going to want to make sure that you're hitting those areas. It shows that you actually care. It's not just you're trying to get the money, but you care about their process. Also, make a list of how much financial aid you need. Everyone applies to the big scholarships, and apply to those, but also apply to those small ones. So I would say go through before applying for scholarships and make a list, bookmark sites, etc., of every scholarship that you think you qualify for, or that you might qualify for, and start going through that list and applying. So much of getting scholarships is just applying.
Okay. When do you think is the best time to apply for scholarships?
Definitely, I always say check with your guidance counselor, but with students that I work with outside of my paid work for Ivy Tech, students I work with in the community, always look at the deadlines. Most deadlines for graduating seniors fall sometime in your senior year. Very few of them will you need to apply for during your junior year, but it's never too early to start crafting your resume. I'm sorry, not your resume, but your essays. It's never too early to start crafting those. So you have some time to perfect them, but pay attention to scholarship deadlines.
Okay.
Definitely.
Can you talk about soft skills and how important they are for scholarships and resumes? Because a lot of students think that that they don't have any job experience, so they give up.
That is a wonderful question. So soft skills are so important. I'm sure you guys have all heard about employability skills, and the Department of Workforce Development for the state of Indiana came up with this great list that employers are looking for. But when you look at those, so many of them, like emotional self-regulation, lifelong learning, responsibility, punctuality, all of those are things you can use as a student So say, for instance, you've had a great volunteer experience. You didn't get paid for it, but you were in charge of making sure a project went through. You were part of planning an event. Those are transferable skills that in that skill section on your resume count, right? Teamwork, cash management, all of those sorts of things. Not having a standard job like at a retail store or fast food or whatever doesn't mean you don't have qualifying skills. Soft skills are also important because as you all are going into post-secondary institutions or into the workforce, those soft skills are the things that kind of smooth out things. It doesn't matter how much you know if you don't know how to get along with other people, if you're never on time, if you don't take responsibility for your actions, if you can't work by yourself, if you can't work in a team, no one will know what you know because they're not going to keep you around long enough to find out.
Okay. Well, we thank you, Ms. Kellye Ayala, for joining us this
afternoon.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come speak to Shortridge students. Students, join us next week for another episode of World Changer 101. Bye.